reinstate what he has said is they're just not only in Africa, but they have committed to support the global work. They have an office also in Asia and in Latin America and also Europe. They work a lot with Roma communities and others. I think this will be a good opportunity for us as a GFoD to make use of them in strengthening, in visualizing, and in engendering other fora which are human rights, but this particular issue is not being taken up. So I think this is. Thank you very much. Now we move to Ergo in Europe, and I give it to Carmen and Athanas.
Thank you very much. It's so nice to hear the pledges and commitments. I do not understand to what extent they are going to be fulfilled in such a short time frame. When it comes to our commitment, we are doing a lot of work on the SDGs, and we don't do just for one or two countries. We are doing it for all of it.
When you say all of it, in Europe?
All the European Union countries plus...
Not the Roma in other countries?
No, because they are not. Like what I was been missing all this week, it is the voice of Roma from this continent. We cannot say Roma just referring to Europe. We have the evidence. We have a strong advocacy. We have documents to share for next 10 years, but we do not know what is happening here. So, as a recommendation, will be that the Global Forum looks also what happens with the Roma here, because Roma issue is particularly seen from all over, just in Europe. We are actors there. We have our identity there, and this should be also very much discussed. Intercontinentally, but globally we do not have the view what is happening here. So we cannot commit to something that we do not know. At least not me personally. We are doing a lot of work with the minority issues. We can also look at it and we can commit on that. But we have to look at, we cannot say that we'll do it in the next 2 years. So it's a plan that will be long foreseen. We cannot commit now and pledge that this will go back by myself and I will do it for the next 3 months. No, I cannot say that. This is a time procedure that has to be placed. But when it comes to the European continent and issues from the Roma side, you will always be there. And we do it aggressively because we have paid people to do it. So we have in our activity program working on SDGs in Roma. So this is the issue.
Thank you. Athanas?
Yeah, I mean, as Carmen said, Ergo, as the European Roma Grassroots Organization, is really heavily involved with advocacy with the European Commission, with the European Parliament, and Carmen particularly is working on the file with the SDGs. So she's a strong ally here in the room with an expertise. And I'm looking forward myself personally to be part of the contribution of all these documents that are here and to the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carmen and Athanas. One request, I mean this we have made earlier, but just to highlight that as you are presenting, the same question what I have also requested my Indian colleagues. Can you also bring in the concept of CDWD, both in SDGs and as you are in the other commissions, so that it doesn't remain only, they don't separate us. You are not only talking about Roma in Europe, but you are actually part of CDWD, and therefore our mechanism that we are demanding at the global level will apply not only to Roma in Europe, but Roma in other countries as well as Dalits and Kilambola and the Haratin and other communities across the world. I think that commitment, if in this new form, if you can commit for this year in terms of at least SDG shadow report, that will be a great support for the total. And of course, individually, regionally, interregionally, let us discuss what are the ways in which we can go forward. One of the things I also feel it is very important is some kind of a exchange, especially with with the Roma leaders, with the Kilambola leaders, with the Africa leaders and the Dalit leaders. I do not know, it's so costly, but I think we should somehow make the leaders meet and an exchange in the area. If you come to Asia, we will take care of you, and if you can take care, let's think of this kind of an exchange. I think it's very, very needed to feel, to strengthen the bond. So we come to Brazil, which is a very, very important. I remember in 2003 and 4, not even 2003, in 2001, we had first engaged with the Kilambola leaders in the World Conference Against Racism. And when we visited Kilambola leaders during the World Social Forum in 2004, we met her colleague and leader, Givania, of that time. And it's so strange that after almost 15 years, we are again meeting her. Givania was also here during our 2019. Givania was not here. I think there was Carmen and others were there. So over to Versalini, who has been. Versalini is also human rights expert. She's a lawyer. She represents the Law Forum. I think all of you have that. But she's a human rights expert, which together we have formed a small network to bring these issues collectively. So over to Versalini.
Enfim, bom, acho que é uma parceria muito boa, né, de longa data aí com Givânia, agora com a CONAC. Mas acho que há algum tempo a gente, desde 2017, que a gente vem fazendo, começou as incidências internacionais, né? Antes a gente participava mais em congressos, enfim, não tinha muita intervenção na ONU, nem na OEA sobre as violações contra a população quilombola. Era tratado tudo num contexto geral, como era o movimento negro unificado no Brasil, que cuidava, era tratado no contexto mais geral da população negra, e não tinha um recorte para a população quilombola, os povos quilombolas. Aí, a partir de 2016, a gente começou a fazer incidência, né, com relação à política de titulação das comunidades quilombolas, porque uma das principais reivindicações do povo quilombola, né, sem terra não tem como produzir, não tem como garantir segurança alimentar, não tem como garantir segurança, saúde, enfim, outros direitos básicos. E a gente, a partir disso, estamos sempre fazendo, todo ano a gente tem uma solicitação de audiência na CID e produzimos relatórios ou complementações. Eu não me recordo muito bem, mas relatórios interpaíses também, com relação a gente produziu. Esse ano foi muito mais complicado de trabalhar atentamente com relação à incidência internacional, mas produzimos alguns relatórios interpaíses, ali junto com os países da América Latina, por exemplo, sobre as violações de direito de consulta. Produzimos relatórios também com relação à violação ao aumento de discursos racistas no país, contra a discriminação da população quilombola e negra. E também estivemos em Genebra também falando sobre a violência contra as mulheres quilombolas que foram assassinadas, né, apresentando nossa pesquisa, nosso dossiê, que mostra a quantidade de pessoas quilombolas, defensoras e defensoras de direitos humanos que foram assassinados no Brasil defendendo um direito básico, é o direito à terra, é o direito à vida. E nós, enquanto CONAC, nos comprometemos a citar mais, né, acho que é um compromisso coletivo de todos nós, né, falar mais sobre as comunidades discriminadas, citar o Fórum Global, né, e compartilhar mais, utilizar mais as redes sociais, né, para compartilhar as violações também sofridas com os nossos companheiros em outros países. Acho que é um compromisso que a gente pode assumir de estar fazendo esse compartilhamento. E de nossos relatórios, a gente não citar somente as populações quilombolas, mas também os romas, os dalits, enfim, outras comunidades discriminadas que fazem parte do nosso grupo aqui, coletivo de trabalho e de luta, né? Acho que são pontos que a gente pode... Com relação às questões mais... enfim, aos processos mais longos, acho que esse de imediato é os que a gente pode se comprometer. E os demais a gente vai, ao longo do processo, implementando. Mas acho que vai demorar um tempinho ainda, porque é aquela questão, a gente precisa ainda entender quais são, eu ainda particularmente preciso entender quais são as violações e as especificações, as necessidades dos países que fazem parte do fórum, que eu conheço pouco a realidade de cada país. Acho que seria importante a gente procurar saber mais sobre a realidade de cada um, as necessidades, para que a gente possa compartilhar mais essa luta e falar mais nas nossas, vamos dizer assim, nos nossos congressos, nos nossos fóruns no Brasil, na América Latina, sobre as violações também sofridas nos países parceiros na luta.
Thank you, Versilini. I think that earlier to have a common urgent action interventions wherever the issues have taken place is something that again Versilini is committing herself. And though they have been involved in human rights in general, I think specifically focusing on Quilombola and the CDWD as part, I think is going to be an advantage for the global. So one request again I have, Versilini, if you can take it to CONAC movement, is can we do in Brazil an SDG shadow report? We will collectively support. I think we'll also take on the support from, yes, so that will be great. And have kind of participation in the regional forum on minority issues. We'll have to see how it is. And another thing which Ibrahima has committed yesterday is he will link up with the Inter-American Rights Commission. He knows the chair of that. Oh, sorry, Julian has committed. He knows, and he has committed to engaging with us in linking us up. So I think that is something that we can follow on. So these are the three critical things that will go ahead. So thank you very much, and wish you all the best in your very, very difficult struggles. So IDSN has been the mother or father of but of this international work when we all initiated it together in 2000. So it's now 22 years, and they have done tremendous work. Please take a look at their IDSN website. We've used their materials. Now Meena has come, committing her time despite the fact that she has many. So I don't want to put too many things, Meena. These are some of the things that had suggested. So I know it is a load, but I know you also have tremendous resources, connections over the last years that, what do you say, social capital that the IDSN has built up. And I think it will be excellent to have that kind of a strength. So over to you.
Thank you, Paul. I'm going to just focus on kind of more immediate stuff, and I think it's important, and I think most of you around the table will know that, as Paul said, we've been doing this a very, very long time. So our work at the UN and the EU is really already very embedded. And I think yesterday I was sharing just some of the submissions we've done to the different special rapporteurs on freedom of expression, right to freedom of association and assembly, minority issues, slavery, racism, and we did a submission on the Global Call for Concrete Action on Durban Conference, joint letter with MRG on the FCRA, the Human Rights Council recommendations every session. Now, I will say already that we always have a preamble for every single submission, every single recommendation we do talking about caste and discrimination based on work and descent. Okay, so it's already there. It's already included, and it's very specific. I would say the same thing for our EU submissions, and we're currently working within, especially focusing on Pakistan and Sri Lanka with EU, because we have a real connection, opportunity with Sri Lanka and Pakistan, because they are they're recipients of a massive bit of funding. But to get that funding, they have to sign up and adhere to certain conventions. So again, one of those is the Convention for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, and that talks about discrimination based on work and descent. So again, it is embedded into the philosophy, but we are the International Dalit Solidarity Network. So we still do what we say on the tin. So our focus when we're talking to people is discrimination based on work and descent is embedded, but we still talk about caste and Dalit. So I just want to put that on the table, because it's important to remember that we can't just change our own mandate, because our mandate comes from our members, and our members have given us that mandate, as you very well know. I'm happy to undertake things like special rapporteur mapping, UN treaty bodies, EU parliamentary monitoring, Global Forum on Minority Issues. Do you mean the UN Forum?
I think it has come in your thing, the UN Global Forum on Minorities.
Okay, so the UN Forum.
To take this as a CDWD and facilitate that kind of.
Yeah, and I think, depending on what the theme is this year, I'm not sure if it's the review, rethink.
This year it's the review, next year hopefully participation.
So I think we have a massive opportunity there with the participation. And I do think that this is something, IDSN will always facilitate people to come to specific Geneva events. And I think, we can widen that. But my request is that when we're looking at submissions, happy to include the wider DWD agenda, happy to even look at Brazil and Mauritania, areas that are beyond our remit, but we require information from you. We cannot do it. We don't have the information. So we need the information to come. And I have to say, we push and push and push our members, and I'm looking at you all right now, because you don't always give me stuff on time. So it's really important, because we can't do that. So those submissions from the voices on the ground are actually the most important thing, and they are much more powerful than what we do. I commit to following this process, Paul, absolutely. Your DWD is in every submission we ever make, but we will do this trying to embed it into the work that we already do. And I think that is really important. I just wanted to double check with Corinne, is the Special Rapporteur on Minority Issues stepping down in summer next year?
Yes, so in December this year there will be a call for a new special.
So in December of this year there will be a call for the new Special Rapporteur on Minority Issues. The current one will step down in, I think in the summer of next year. Now, we have had an extremely special relationship with that mandate. If there are any qualified DWD minorities here, think about applying. That would give us... Well, African or Asian. So if we could have a special rapporteur on minority issues from the DWD community, just imagine what a massive step that would be. Please, please, please think about that and consider it. And I do have a couple of slogans.
Oh, good.
Okay? So, our fight, our might, our rights.
Okay.
And protect our rights, respect our lives.
Okay. So please note that down. We're having a last round of slogans. Our right, our might.
Our fight, our might, our right.
Our might, our fight, our might, our right.
Yeah. And protect our rights, respect our lives.
Thank you. Bina is noting down some of these slogans, and we'll have it as we close. Thank you very much. A big round of applause to commitment of IDSN. I think their strength in Human Rights Council is very much. And then, I'll give it. And then it is very necessary for us to complementarily work with that strength, so that as Meena has offered, as they stretch their inclusion to Pilambola and also from the Africa continent, I think it will be a strong way in which to take forward. Musa, you want to just say? Very small.
Oui, je vais prendre un engagement aussi. Merci, Paul. Je vois qu'il y a beaucoup d'engagements qui sont pris par les uns et les autres, et j'ai envie de prendre aussi un engagement de produire une synthèse de l'esclavage traditionnel au Sahel, l'ensemble du Sahel. Et que ça serve d'outil pour mieux argumenter certaines réflexions ou certaines plaidoyers sur la question. Merci.
Thank you, Musa. We come now to the diaspora. We have several leaders here in the diaspora. I've also missed out some people. I think I missed out from asking Priyanka, who's representing the youth, and also the others. So please, and also Father Eloy, you could share if there are contributions. Of course, you're part of the Secretariat, but if there are anybody who would like to share. Now I come to AIM, Ambedkar International Mission, and also representing the diaspora. Anybody, you would like to speak, and of course, anybody else?
Thank you, Paul. AIM is an organization, Ambedkar organization, which has consolidated the Dalits in New York, New Jersey, and the tri-state area. So we as an organization are delighted to be part of this initiative, and we do offer whatever help in our capacity to see that this initiative moves forward. Towards that, the discussions we had over the last couple of days, the group discussions, a few points came up. One of them, I think importantly, is that USA being a place, a land of opportunity and a melting pot, and in the globalized world, we have an opportunity to fraternize with all the DWD community members, civil society here, because we have a good chance of them being here. And it's just a matter of actually identifying and creating that platform and framework so that we can all come together. And I would appeal to the community leaders to try and help us in that endeavor to create that fraternity so that we at the national level within the US can form our own group and try and help in this initiative as we can. The other thing I would like to also say is that we want to create we want to sensitize the civil society, the legal system here, the political system, the corporate system, the academics with this concept. And to do this sensitization, we would need some kind of a knowledge base which subject matter experts outside ourselves will need to help us. And that knowledge base will create a set of artifacts that we can take to these different entities and organizations, and we can speak in one voice instead of creating multiple versions of our narrative. So I would really again appeal to the subject matter experts here to help us in putting together that knowledge base, that set of artifacts which will help us in promoting this issue, sensitizing the agencies that I mentioned. And besides that, advocacy to the UN is another important thing that we spoke at length, and I would actually want to bring in Father Thomas and Sister Cynthia to speak more on that, but that's one of the agenda that we want to pursue aggressively over the coming, over the next few years.
And also the internships, of course, you just mentioned.
Yeah, but you can.
No,
Yeah, when I said that we want to create a force of a youth forum so that the youth can be engaged in this process at an early stage, and so that we can train them, mentor them in academic way into the way forward. Plus, what that will allow us to do is take this whole struggle and initiative to the next generation and prepare them for that fight, because it's a long-run fight. And we definitely want to create some framework for having internship programs where we can mentor and train the youth into this and create that force.
Thank you, Milind. I think very important three elements of creating a knowledge base from here, but more importantly, the networking with other diaspora in the US. I think this is very important. Yesterday, Abu Bakr introduced Ali. Like that, I think if Raishatu, Musa, and Ibrahima and others who know of your own DWD communities here in the US, it will be excellent if we can bring them all together, and also Atanas and Carmen, some of the Roma leaders. So Roma leaders, Dalits from Bangladesh, Dalits from Nepal, Dalits from Bangladesh, Pakistan and India, and from all these communities from Africa and Roma here in the US. I'm sure we form a very substantial, powerful group. If that can be a key, that would be very great. And imagine having a protest when we are having an intervention at the UN with all these people with raising flags. That would be a very great, and then saying that it is not just one country or one Asia, but it's a what do they say, global apartheid which has been hidden for so long. I think that's a slogan that we'll have to give, and I really hope, and I'm sure once you set your mind, you will do. I'll just request Father Thomas and Cynthia, if you want to just share, because he heads the, as you all know, he heads the international advocacy, UN advocacy for salations of Don Bosco, which is working in 90 countries, I think. So it will be good to see how your support can strengthen.
Yeah, you won't let anybody go. You got everybody on the floor, yeah? Well, one thing is that I'm not really diaspora because next June I won't be here. I'm back in my country. So one personal promise is that I can join all the efforts that will take place in India, one. And very short term, I think what is possible for me, I can only speak about what is possible, is to ensure that this issue is taken up by the NGO committees working here. So definitely they will start working on September, but we will need the data required. We will need spokespersons. It won't be me. It doesn't make sense that I do it. It will be from here. So I will write a letter immediately to see who can come on board, and then schedule, a number of events the whole year up to June. Who can speak up for the CDWD on the first. The second thing is that when there are side events on various teams that come up, usually we get some good practice from the ground. Now we can get that good practice from the ground of people going through these struggles. So these two things, and whenever we have the position papers, the written statements, and the preferably even an oral statement possible, to see that someone from the DWD is there in this 1 month. So this year up to June. Then I'm gone from here. But I hope to leave some footprints which somebody else can carry on with.
Excellent. Thank you. Very good. Yeah.
I think he has said all of it. So we will be more than happy to help support you all with the UN NGO world. As he mentioned, we have the different committees where you can come and talk about it. And because every month we meet and we have education session where we can present this issue. And maybe when you form the working group, some of the NGOs members who are interested can be part of this to take this advocacy at the UN. Also, we meet with the UN member states, other UN agencies, ILO. We have good contact. So these are the platforms where you can, support and take this issue into. I think that's. We'll be more than happy to help.
So, one thing is the congressional hearing. Can you work for one of those in this coming year? Associate with Hindus for Human Rights and the Indian American Muslim Association together. Work for at least one congressional hearing. Yeah, and a webinar with Hindus for Human Rights.
Yes, definitely.
I think this is very, very important. the political intervention through, just like how the EU Parliamentary Forum and others have been intervened. The US congressional hearings on CDWD will be very, very important. Just working through that, you will have to weave in through the strength of several of us and the communities. So if you can get the several communities to have a hearing, I think that would be great. And also the steps that Cynthia and Father Thomas have mentioned, that we can build a calendar of 1 year, and you make the interventions, and many of us from outside the country will be able to join you in one form or the other to take forward. So big clap to the diaspora. Bandhu, you want to say a few words? These are all people who are...
Yeah, actually I have nothing specific to say, particularly in terms of contributing to the strategic plan that we have made. But one thing I can say is that there's going to be a big event that is going to take place in September, which is the General Assembly of the World Council of Churches, which brings together people from about nearly 150 countries. And there we are, with IDSN and Evangelical Lutheran Church in America and Global Ministries, we are offering, and in partnership with Student Christian Movement of India, we are offering a workshop on Dalit struggles for justice, particularly in the context of neo-fascism in South Asia. But at the same time, we are also offering a workshop space, an exhibition space, which actually is a space for conversation. A number of people come there to talk about, to learn about some of these issues. So we would like to use this space to promote the communities discriminated on work and dissent, and I would certainly sort of ask you for some promotion material. And that would probably be a space where we could launch this idea, because actually I wish we had more time and possibility. We had thought about it earlier. We could even have offered a workshop. But nevertheless, I just want to promise that we will certainly take this forward. And I think for me, this experience has certainly helped to learn more about it. So I would certainly sort of make sure that this issue, the reality of many other people, going through experiencing discrimination is something that we can give visibility to it. And I will continue to be involved and do whatever I can in the capacities that I have and the spaces that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. What a massive support that we've had. Just one last quick from the climate change, climate justice point of view. Shannon has been linking up with several of us here from Africa, from Asia, and also from Latin America, linking that very important issue. So a few words on how you can continue to strengthen that aspect of work and linking that. Huh? Yeah, okay.
So you were talking about earlier Africa has to link up with some NGOs. I could make some introductions with some anti-slavery NGOs and also some environmental groups and IPCC. And yeah, I'd also like to open up perhaps a conversation with you after this on continuing to do more research on it could be climate justice, but it could be we could link this up with other issues in SDGs as well. But yeah, I think we should have a conversation about that after.
Thank you. I think it's a very important aspect. The whole of the world is talking about climate justice and environmental justice, and we are left out in this whole dialogue. I think we need to occupy that space. We need to visualize the exclusions that have been going on. So friends, I think we have captured almost all of you, not only by word from what you have said, but also Jero has recorded that, and Dipanshu has caught all your promises on camera. So you're all currently done. So only 2 people, and then I request Julian and Corinne to express, and then we close with some slogans that have already been said. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you, Paul. So I'm a part of a few critical feminist processes, and the UN has a generation equality campaign that they're really rallying around, and I'm one of the nodal youth activists in India. So we've only been pushing the Dalit agenda, from the lens of Dalit feminists. But now that, we have this communities discriminated on work and dissent, if each one of you could connect me with youth activists from your communities, we can definitely rope them in the generation equality campaign. And there's also huge resources that the UN is pumping into this campaign. So it'll be really good to have the youth activists from your communities. The other critical process is I'm a part of FRIDA, the Young Feminist Fund, and we fund, I'm on the board of FRIDA, and we fund young feminist organizations under 30. So if there are young feminists who are interested in seeking funds, then please connect me with them, and we can do a proposal collectively and apply to FRIDA. So yes, thank you.
Good. So by the end of July, you please send us the names, and we will make sure that they reach. I think this is very important, and send them from different streams: lawyers, climate change activists, community leaders. I think it would be very good if we build that kind of a global body. And so, Aloy, we come to you just to see if there is anything else that you would like to say. Please, and then I pass it on to Julian and Corinne.
Fortunately, you didn't say that I have the last word. Julian and Corinne. Well, on my part, since I am part of the GFoD Secretariat, and I have been concentrating my attention on the research part, because I find that for our work, I think database, evidences are very, very important. And fortunately, we have done something at South Asia level in the recent months in getting people to do research on certain things. And so my specific contribution in this process also is in terms of conceptual framework for data collection and editing and so on. That has been helpful. But I'm also thinking of, and I've shared with Paul also, that at the GFoD level, I think we should have a collective database in future. Very important, current database in terms of primary or secondary data on, for example, even on SDGs, for example. It's true that I think we can work at the regional level, but I think we should also have a knowledge-based house. I think it's very, very important for visibilizing our community and also for politically advocating the cause. That's very important. And therefore, I think a network needs to be built in this connection. And this associated idea would also be, Paul and I had been discussing also earlier, where we should think of like-minded research institutes. Not simply for academic work, but also for advocacy-related work. That's very, very important. If only we can have data, secondary data, primary data, evidentiary cases, and so on, I think that will be extremely helpful for us in the next 3 to 5 years. I think this is one area I think where we need to focus more and more, and then build a house of data which can be shared, not only for our work, but also I think we need this data to be used by others research scholars, so that through their research also our CDWD community becomes more visible. Because I'm saying this in the light of the study that I made, one of the studies I made on Dalit women, speak out, violence against Dalit women. That study is now being used by many research scholars. So I think, therefore, I think we have to think of for our own purpose and also for others. This is one area I think where we need also to focus more and more. Thank you.
A very important aspect that we have to do. So finally, we come to Julian Berger, who has been part of the preparation, at least for the last 2 months, and much more maybe through Corin. He has already committed certain connections that he will bring. Let's appreciate his support but also once again your commitments that you made.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. You really are taking the inclusivity project very seriously by not leaving anybody out. Thank you to all of you for everything you've spoken about. A lot of it is very new to me. I found it extremely interesting. It's extremely worrying as well in this 21st century to be confronted with these very serious issues. As I have said, I consider myself a resource based on a lot of career working in human rights and at the United Nations and as a non-governmental organization. For your information, I worked also 5 years for Anti-Slavery International, a long time ago, probably before slavery was abolished, who knows. I do have a commitment on the issues, a personal commitment. I believe I can be useful in the area of the United Nations on the issue of the Declaration, the International Year, and other areas where perhaps some of you are not so familiar, because you have a lot of knowledge of the UPI and a lot of knowledge of the treaty bodies and so on. But I think probably some of those other things that take place, and including, of course, the development of a declaration. And on that point, I think the one part that I would say is still concerning for me is how you bind this group and others around the common program. And I think the common program could be developed as you work towards the contents of the declaration, because that defines the rights that people will have. So that's where I can perhaps provide some independent kind of thinking and contribution. So thank you very much also to everybody who's here, who I've met and had a great chance to have a few interesting conversations and some amusing discussions.
Thank you. Thank you. He's also promised that he will try and get experts and others to form our informal working group for drafting of the declaration. I think that's a very, very massive work which is there. So thank you very much. Before I give it to Corin, there are 2-3 things we will say. Of course, I will say them. But before that, Raj, if you want to say a few words, because Chicago may be our next stop. We take it seriously. Yes. Anybody would like to just say, Nivedita?
Yeah, it's proximity to the airport, and we have direct flights to most of the parts of the world. And there is a great school, University of Chicago, so we can definitely, I'm ready to host. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Raj. Nivedita?
Concluding remarks. What a sharing in the past couple of days. I've been mentioning this often in all the conversations that I've been having. I have a great pool of writers, Dalit writers with me across borders. And past couple of days I've just been thinking how to rope them in. How can they be the advocates of this kind of work that has been done at such an international level? And the writing that is still happening is still at the very rudimentary grassroots level, which needs to now have the word of CDWD. And this is where I would like to commit and definitely take this forward. Thank you for this session, sir. Thank you. Almost the last word. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ketaki, would you like to say? Ketaki, in her teachings, I'm sure you will help us. You want to say a word? Please. And with this, I asked the people who have been working background, I would ask them to be prepared to just say one word each before we close.
I myself consider as a person of
activism, advocacy, and academics. So I think probably very much to what Julian was talking about, the network of scholars, network of student scholars, activism back in India and at global level, those who are doing studies in various universities. Perhaps good to share this process with them, because they are understanding, they are talking about this process at various avenues, may have certain kind of mobilizing opinion or sense of mobilization of opinion, and probably I would like to play that role at various levels. So I think
thank you. So let me wind up by just Corinne will telling a few words, and then Beena with the slogans, to say that for the last 6 months we've been talking about this, and then Corinne, no, even more, 8 months. And after some time, Corinne said, okay, this is not happening. But then she was also gone for 2 months. But we really put in a lot of preparatory work. The schedule, just to prepare the schedule, we would have had about 12, 14 meetings, so many versions. And more than me, it was Corinne who was after me to pick our brains and then say which is the best way to get such a massive experience. And I thank all of you, because you put in 2 sessions, 6 hours each, 2 days prior to the meeting. One on May 18th, May 28th, and then June 18th. And that was really good, because we saved a lot of time and we were able. So a big clap to Corinne and Julian who made this possible. And Corinne, please.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you. It's been a great honor to be invited to contribute to this process and to continue to contribute to this movement. It's been wonderful to see old friends and to make new friends and to see everyone in person, which is a special thing that we've not been able to do for a long time. In terms of my own personal pledges, with my hat as the Dalit Solidarity Network UK chair, I pledge to share this action plan with our board and with our director, and to reflect on those entry points where we can really amplify in the UK the aims of this network and this movement. And with my hat as also to connect this work plan with the Bond Cast and Development Network. So it's a network of international NGOs based in London that are interested in supporting the elimination of caste discrimination. I will share this work plan with them. And in my hat as a researcher and a teacher, I pledge to support the sharing of your research, to support Father Alouad's ideas about building up a network of research institutes that work in this area, and to continue to support capacity building on how to use human rights mechanisms for those who need more support and how to do that. And then on the new Special Rapporteur on minorities, I pledge to encourage those from this movement to consider applying to be the next Special Rapporteur on minorities. I think that would be a tremendous way to elevate attention to the issues. And then finally, let me say that one of the reasons Paul invited me to be part of this movement was the research I've done on how other groups have launched declaration processes. And someday I hope to be able to tell my grandchildren that I was in the room when this movement launched their campaign. And finally, I pledge to return to this place, to New York City, to the General Assembly, on the day that your declaration is adopted.
Some more slogans, and with that we close.
So I have some slogans here which we will start. I don't want to start with Jai Bhim because everybody knows that's something new, and then we'll end with Jai Bhim. So Okoi Shakti. Okay. So I say Okoi and you say Shakti. Okoi Shakti. Not loud enough. What is this? Africa, from the Africa also you also have to say Okoi Shakti. Shakti. So you say Shakti, yeah? Shakti. Where's Musa? Shakti. Okay. Okoi Shakti. Okoi Shakti. Okay. The next is Amrilaki. Amrilaki. So I say Ami, you say? Amrilaki. I say Ami, you say? Amrilaki. Ami? Amrilaki. Ami? Amrilaki. Okay. Up equality, down inequality. So I say up equality, down inequality. Okay. Up equality, down inequality. Up equality, down inequality. Okay, so we'll try something different with this. We'll go first very softly, okay, and then we increase the sound. Okay, so we go first softly and then we increase the sound. So let's see how loud we can sing. Maybe the Senate can hear us in DC. Okay. Up, equal. Nobody's saying, come on. Up, equality, down, inequality. Up, inequality, down, inequality. Up, equality, down, inequality. Up, equality, down, inequality. Up, equality, down, inequality. And Paul and Priyanka are saying, what is this? Only we want equality over. Okay, once more we're trying. Everybody on board? All of you got what we have to say? Do? Okay. Up, equality, down, inequality. 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 Yay! Okay, let's try another one. Versilini neo geroto a menos. Okay, so I say neo geroto and you say a menos. Okay, what do you say? A menos. Neo gereto a menos. Neo gereto a menos. Neo gereto a menos. Okay, since we are in the US and the recent judgment on abortion rights, so I'd come, let's say one slogan on that. My body, my choice. My body, my choice. My body, my choice. Correct. My body, my choice. My body, my choice. Okay. French, yeah, I'll come to me. French, action is freedom, inaction is slavery. Action is freedom, inaction is slavery. Action is freedom. Inaction is slavery. Action is freedom. Inaction is slavery. Action is freedom. Inaction is slavery. Okay. एक आवाज हमारे हम है सबसे भारी. Okay, सबसे भारी. आप बताइए. एक है आवाज हमारी. Okay, एक है आवाज हमारी. हम है सबसे भारी. ओके, एक है आवाज हमारी. एक है आवाज हमारी. हम है सबसे भारी. हम है सबसे भारी. सबसे भारी. सबसे भारी. सबसे सबके भारी. हम है आवाज में. एक है आवाज हमारे. एक है आवाज हमारे. सब हम है सबसे भारी. Everyone only I'm struggling with. हम है सबसे भारी. Okay. सबसे भारी. Yes. एक है हवा. एक है आवाज हमारे. एक है आवाज हमारी. एक है आवाज हमारे. हम है सबसे भारी. Okay. Meena, you were saying something. I don't have that last.
Our right, our fight, our right, our might.
Okay. Our fight, no, our right, our fight, our might. Okay. So our right, our fight, our might. Our right. Okay, but they have to come together. Right, might, and fight. Right, might, fight. Right, might, fight. Right, might, fight. Okay. So our right, our fight, our might. Our right, our fight, our fight. Okay. Right, Shetru saying that's not the order. And finally, okay, I've gone through all the different languages. We can go to Jai Bhim. Jai 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 Bhim. Jai Bhim, Jai Bhim. Jai 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 Bhim. Jai Bhim, Jai Bhim. There's another one, no? Donald Trump, yeah.
Will never be defeated.
So people united will never be defeated. Okay. We'll start again with the slow and rise, okay? Okay. People united will never be defeated. 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 Woo! Yes. What is the other one? Hey, hey, ho, ho. No? Okay. So any country, you want the initial we used to say is hey hey ho ho. Donald Trump got to go, but he's gone. So we can say Narendra Modi got to go. Okay? Hey hey ho ho. Narendra Modi got to go. Modi got to go. Okay. Okay. Hey hey ho ho. Modi got to go. Hey hey ho ho. Modi got to go. Rhymes better with Narendra Modi because we need 2 syllables. So hey hey ho ho. Narendra Modi got to go. Hey hey ho ho. Narendra Modi got to go. Dipanshu, don't put this on social media. Any other
Hey, hey, ho, ho, white supremacists have to go.
Yes.
Bolsonaro got to go.
Who's Brazil? Yeah, correct. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bolsonaro got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Bolsonaro got to go.
Okay. Jai Bhim.
Jai Bhim.
Jai Bhim.
Jai Bhim.
Opera Roma.
Opera Roma.
Salve.
Salve. Thank